Hello and welcome back to another episode of the For the Property Investor podcast. And yes, we're here with the weekly news again. And of course, the only man that brings us the news is Nick Bendall. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you very much for having me, Owen. These chats of ours are always the highlight of my week.
Oh, thanks, Nick. It's I feel blessed and also sad for you all at the same time.
Well, that's a nice range of emotions.
Yes, yes. Welcome to the roller coaster of property management.
And speaking of property management, you have a national property management business, Leafield. How has your past week been?
Oh, it's very, very lots of ups and downs. It's they say property management is like being on a bit of a roller coaster. So lots of good things happening, still getting lots of properties leased, a few new managements as well, and dealing with some, unfortunate situations with tenants who are not doing the right thing. But they're in the minority. It's not going to be here bashing tenants. It's most tenants are fantastic tenants, but unfortunately, there's a few who don't do the right things. So yes, been busy dealing with them.
Okay, well, that sounds like an interesting week. With my business, Hunter and Scribe, we're a copywriting agency. We write content for finance and property businesses. I used to be a journalist, Owen, as you know. So one of the things Hunter and Scribe are very good at is getting media coverage for our clients. And there's a particular Perth buyers agent we work with. We write a monthly media release for him. And
Mm.
a few days ago, he sent me a really nice photo. It was a photo of the West Australian newspaper featuring his photo and a big article. He was very, very pleased with that because his business, they work only in Perth. And so getting covered in the West Australian is always a really, really big deal for him. So he was very, very happy with that media coverage that we got for him.
Very good, very good. So I assume it was you who wrote the article for the West Australian.
Well, it
Well,
was.
that ended up in the Western Australia.
Yes, it was a Hunter and Scribe media release that was delivered to the West Australian, and the West Australian uh, displayed the utmost common sense and discretion in deciding to publish that fine piece of writing.
Fantastic. Well done. So I'll congratulate you as well um, for doing such a great job. So well done, Nick.
Well, that's very kind of you, but I think real congratulations, I was going to say for the client, but maybe for the West Australian for having such good taste.
Of course. Of course. Um, it's yeah, for your client's sake and your sake as well. So, but you always have get good results for your clients. So that's a good reflection of you.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you. I am very lucky to be working with so many fantastic clients.
Yes. Well, now that we've patted ourselves on the back, how about we talk about some news? Have you brought us some news?
I have indeed, and you'll be interested in our first story because you are someone who made the move from a capital city to a regional location. Our first story is more young Australians considering regional relocations. New research from the Regional Australia Institute has found that 37% of capital city residents would consider moving to the regions, and that includes 49% of metro residents aged 18 to 29. When those younger Australians were asked why they were considering a move, 52% said cheaper living costs and 50% more affordable housing. The research also shows that 80.1% of people who make major regional locations are either moving from one metro location to another or one regional location to another. However, for those who swap location types, 11.5% are moving from a capital city to a regional location, while only 8.4% are moving from the regions to the capital cities. So, Owen, two-thirds of Australians live in the capital cities, one-third in the regions. Do you think the regional share of the population, so in percentage terms rather than absolute numerical terms. Do you think the regional share of the population will increase in the years ahead?
I actually think it will. It's probably the one good thing that came out of those COVID years, that yeah, people had their eyes open to regional living and the benefits it can offer, and the ability to work remotely or to look for alternative types of work. And they discovered the better lifestyle and a better cost of living as a
Mm,
result.
I'm a Sydney boy, but I have spent a couple of years living in the regions, and I once spent 3 years traveling around Australia, and I went to pretty much every regional community you can think of, and I absolutely love regional Australia. There are just so many great places. So I agree with you. That was one of the great things about the pandemic that I think people, capital city types, discovered that there are so many great places in Australia outside the big capital cities. But just following on from that, so the big positives of moving from a capital city to a regional location are lower cost of living and better lifestyle, but employment opportunities can be limited. So I'm wondering, does that place a natural limit on the growth potential of the regions?
Yes, it would, but with the potential for more remote working opportunities in the general marketplace, I think that is where a lot of that drive will come from, and also a lot of people who are also looking at who are self-employed and have their own small business. The best way of staying in business is when you're starting out is to reduce your costs.
Mm.
So yes, a lot of people are who are in business for themselves and they're not tied to a location, are going regional for the lifestyle as well as the reduced costs.
So both of us are very pro-region. I've got a slightly different question for you, though. Australia is very different to most countries in that our population is heavily concentrated in 5 cities.
Mm.
Is it in the national interest for our population to be distributed over more locations, or does it not matter one way or the other?
No, I think it's good to have that diversity, and it's yeah, to have everyone just bunched up in five little locations. It's because we need to have presence in regional areas, I think, and it provides opportunity for diversity in our country. And yeah, if it was just farmers out there and there wasn't a good percentage of the population that are exposed to the country life and what farmers go through, then yes, it would be a very skewed view of the country that most of the population would have.
Just before we move on to the next story, Owen, do you have a particular favorite regional location?
Oh, I um I like the mid north coast of New South Wales.
Mm.
It's That's one of my favorites. And I wouldn't be alone in having that as my favorite either. Yeah, that's where as well as there's some other areas as well, like the Barrington Tops or
Mm.
Hunter Valley, as well as even out to places like Mudgee.
Okay, well, maybe we need to do a For the Property Investor podcast roadshow one of these days.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Let's move on to our next story. We'll put that on the back burner for now. Our second story today. What is the real story with the economy? Two recent data points for the Australian Bureau of Statistics point to a reasonably strong economy, despite vibes to the contrary. The unemployment rate in January was just 4.1%, the same as the previous month. Wages growth in the December quarter was 0.8% on a quarterly basis and 3.4% on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the most recent inflation figures from last month show that prices in the December quarter were 3.8% higher than the year before. Reserve Bank Governor Michelle Bullock recently told the House of Representatives Standing Committee on Economics that the share of the population with a job is close to a record high. Private demand increased more strongly over the latter part of 2025 than expected, and the supply of goods and services is struggling to keep up with demand. So, just in summary, unemployment is low, wages are growing reasonably strongly, and inflation is quite high. Owen, I'm just wondering how you weigh all of that up. How do you judge the economy? Is it strong? Is it weak? Is it somewhere in between?
Yes, and it's a good question, Nick. It's the economy is confusing many people. A lot of people feel like they're struggling, but when you look at the facts and figures on paper, the economy's strong. It's growing. Yeah, unemployment is healthy. Lots of people have got jobs. Wages in general are improving. I think there's still a lot of people that are hurting as well. So it's I think we're in a bit of a stalemate economy, if we can put a label on it, maybe like a bit like that, where it's trying to work out where it's going. And there's not a key direction. It's on paper, it's looking healthy, but a lot of people aren't feeling the love. There's a lot more people seem to be feeling the pain than the love from the economy. So yeah.
More people feeling the pain than the love. I've got some numbers to back that up for you. Roy Morgan does regular surveys of consumer and business confidence. Now, keep in mind a score of 100 is considered neutral. Anything above is positive, anything below is negative. Currently, consumer confidence is running at 77.1 points and has been below 100 points every single month for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Business confidence is at 97.4 points, but it's been above 100 for much of the past 18 months. So let's look at each of those things separately, starting with consumer confidence. Why do you think consumer confidence has been so low for so long?
Oh, it's those cost of living crisis that and the housing crisis, and probably doesn't help to keep dwelling on it, both in the media and individually either. But it is a real thing. People are feeling the pinch, feeling the pain, and that's what people focus on. It's if they were to have a change of mindset and focus on the positives in their life, then yeah, that they might feel a bit more positive. If they got a roof over their head and they got a job, and it's compared to a lot of other places in the world, yeah, they might be doing okay. But the fact is, compared to maybe 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, they're definitely feeling the pain. And from rising cost of living, as well as the rising cost of putting a roof over your head.
Businesses are operating in the same environment as consumers. So why do you think businesses have been more confident than consumers over the past few years?
It's probably a factor of the economy still performing well. And this is where, when we look at the inflation figures, there's something that doesn't add up here. People are saying there's a cost of living crisis, and they're feeling the pain and they're feeling the hurt, but people are still spending money. Inflation inflation pressures are still on the up and up. So it's what people are saying and what people are doing with their money doesn't seem to correlate.
Something's got to give at some point. Either the economy gets better and maybe the mood of consumers catch up with that improvement, or things get worse, and maybe the state of the economy catches up with the mood.
Yeah, so it's a bit unnerving where yeah, it seems like what people are saying and what people are doing just aren't really adding up.
Our final story today is something different. Land holds the key to affordability, says Home Building Group. Over the past 25 years, residential land prices have increased by 514%, while construction costs have increased by 150%, according to Cotality and the Housing Institute of Australia. Tim Reardon, the chief economist for the Housing Institute of Australia, said the long run growth in housing costs had been driven overwhelmingly by land prices. The way governments release, service, and tax land has embedded the cost of infrastructure, delays, and planning decisions into land prices. Those costs are paid up front, capitalised into land values, and ultimately borne by new home buyers, he said. It was easy over the last few years to lose sight of what has been the most pressing constraint on Australian home building. Everything has appeared to be under pressure since the pandemic. The shortage of shovel-ready land is central to solving the affordability challenge. Tim Reardon added, without a healthy pipeline of shovel-ready land across Australia's capitals and regions, along with all the associated infrastructure fairly funded, the return of demand for new housing will be diverted into the established housing market, further driving up prices and worsening the affordability crisis. Interesting comments there, Owen. Do you agree with Tim Reardon that, quote, the shortage of shovel-ready land is central to solving the affordability challenge?
Yes, whether it's for houses or for units and apartments, yes, it's the supply issue that is causing this affordability crisis. If we fix that, whether it's for brand new house and land or for units and apartments, then it'd make a big difference. And we need all of the above. We were talking about regional areas a little while ago, and and the growth in regions. So we need house and land in the regions. And so if we focused on that, then the double affordability of cheaper land in the regions and being able to but then of course we got the problem of getting them built, of not having enough trades as well to be able to do that. Yeah, so definitely we need that better supply of new land.
Okay, so we've got an affordability problem because we're not building enough, and we're not building enough because we don't have enough new land. So what do we need to do to open up more land in our cities at a faster rate?
It comes down to government red tape, being able to approve for new subdivisions, get them done, and then you've got the civil works to be able to get them to get the land ready for building on. And yeah, so that's what it really comes down to, is fast tracking this supply problem. And it happens everywhere in the country. Um, and yeah, so we need to get that done. But so whether it's in the major cities with approving unit and apartment living developments, or out in the burbs and out in the regional areas for new house on land, yes, it's government red tape to get approvals done and to get the civil works done so that they can start putting a shovel in the ground.
Okay, talking about your comment about red tape is interesting. I know you've argued before on the podcast that our housing sector is overtaxed, so it sounds like you think it's also overregulated.
Oh yes, absolutely. So it's too much. We need regulation, that's for sure. But we need to have a simple checklist that can be done at the start, and yeah, to get the ball rolling as quickly as possible. So it's and then the taxes on top of that. It's because of course the all levels of government won't give that big tick of approval until they get their piece of the pie, and they always want it up front. So it's yes, maybe if they could defer some of that, so that until the end product is delivered, then yeah, maybe that's a better way of go. So definitely tax reform when it comes to uh, development of lands, the development of new unit and housing um, developments would be a great idea to be able to help the process along.
I remember having a conversation with one of Australia's leading mortgage brokers, and he made the point to me that credit departments at banks are often like bouncers at nightclubs. They're looking for reasons to keep you out. And he said they should be more like hotel concierges, kind of ushering you in. I'm wondering if we don't need a similar approach with regulators and authorities in terms of home builders. Should they be looking for opportunities to say yes rather than reasons to say no?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's a bit of a paradigm shift in their world. Yes, it's when it comes to credit departments in banks, having been a mortgage broker myself in the past, their whole job is to be able to find reasons to say no. So that's a whole cultural and paradigm shift to happen. But it's and yes, when you're dealing with government departments whose job is to try and find reasons to say no, it's because they're protecting their backside to make sure everything's compliant and done properly. But yes, we can. So it has to come from the top. The directive has to come from the top, and all at the same time of making sure we protect the quality of the end result as well, of course.
Well, Owen, thank you as always for a fantastic chat. Always love our conversations and your insights. See you again next week.
Thank you, Nick. And yes, looking forward to seeing what's in the news next week. See ya.